but he looked European. The second Australian, he was older, maybe 30 years old. And I remember he had a beard dyed red from henna. This man, he seemed agitated and uncomfortable. And because I was new in the camp, he was uneasy and he tried to hide his face.
What kind of training did they have?
All kinds, all kinds. They had Islamic studies, they have training in weapons, they have training in explosives. They also have a classroom with computers for training on the internet.
Samir claims he visited a second, more remote camp, this one in Abyan province. There he found a totally self-reliant community of about 1,000 men, women and children. The foreign recruits were provided Yemeni girls and women to marry.
They had Australian passports. One of them went by the name of Abu Nasir. I saw Germans there too, and Somalis, Saudis. They were all involved in some kind of psychological training to make them strong.
If for whatever has motivated you to want to join the worldwide jihad, and you look at, I can go to Iraq, I can go to Afghanistan, I can go to Pakistan, or I can go to Yemen. Yemen is a much better place to go.
There is one name that has become synonymous with Al-Qaeda on the Arabian Peninsula. Of Yemeni descent but American-born, cleric Anwar al-Awlaki is the first US citizen ever placed on his country's official assassination list.
Brothers and sisters, there is a very important lesson to learn here from this story of Al-Hijrah of Umar.
With his perfect English, Anwar al-Awlaki's internet sermons preach contempt for non-believers, or kuffar.
The important lesson to learn here is never ever trust al-kuffar. Do not trust them.
He was accused of conspiring with a US Army major who killed 13 people in a shooting rampage at Fort Hood in Texas in 2009. And in the same year, al-Awlaki is claimed to have offered guidance to the so-called underpants bomber, who planned to blow up an airliner over Detroit on Christmas Day. Al-Awlaki is now hiding in Yemen after being released from prison there. But borders are no barrier to the man dubbed the Osama bin Laden of the internet.
He is a motivational speaker. He is a recruiter.
It was on Barbara Badin's watch that Al-Qaeda first struck in Yemen. She was American ambassador when in 2000 a suicide bomber attacked the USS Cole in Aden Harbour, killing 17 sailors. 11 years later, Anwar al-Awlaki has become the human face of Al-Qaeda.
Those who are on the path of self-radicalization now know where to go, and we've turned him into a perverse kind of hero for them. So yes, I think to a certain extent he is a creature of our invention as well as anything that he could have ever dreamed to be on his own.
To get a sense of the evolution of this firebrand and the lure and seduction of his message, I've come to the neighbourhoods around Washington, D.C., where Anwar al-Awlaki once preached a moderate brand of Islam.
We are confident that our way is sanctioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
His one-time spiritual brother, Imam Abdul Malik Jahari, claims Muslims like Anwar al-Awlaki are radicalised because they feel they have no voice.
If I talk about it on the Friday sermon, what's happening, if people hear me talk about that pain, now I'm a collaborator. This is a problem. So where do young people talk about it who feel those pains and frustrations? They go to the internet. I know some of you still not convinced that resistance is not a bad thing. The question is, how does one resist?
Anwar al-Awlaki spent his formative years preaching in these American mosques. He even publicly denounced the September 11 attacks, even though the CIA now claims he was the spiritual advisor to two of the hijackers.
The struggles of our time.
But then in 2004, he returned to Yemen, where he was arrested and interrogated for his alleged association with extremists.
And they are pursued by the Meccans who want to exterminate them.
It's then, according to Imam Jahari, that his transformation from American citizen to enemy of the state was sealed.
He claims he was tortured, and I think in that environment, he might get to a point to say, you know, you're torturing me. I'm an American citizen. You need to get your hand off of me. And they said, really? Well, let me tell you something. You're American citizen. Your government asked us to do this to you.
The United States is pouring tens of millions of dollars of military and security aid into Yemen, on the understanding that Yemen must get serious about al-Qaeda. There are frequent military clashes in and around the remote camps in the south and east of the country. But the elusive Anwar al-Awlaki remains in hiding. If there's any doubt about how al-Qaeda views the internet as a weapon of choice, you only have to look at its official online magazine. It's called Inspire. It's slick and incredibly well produced and laid out, and it's written in flawless English. There are messages from Osama bin Laden, but this is also a terrorist manual. There are stories about how to make a bomb on your mother's kitchen table, how to use your pickup truck to mow down as many people as possible. This is clearly aimed at young and impressionable Americans, British and Australians, and it's made right here in Yemen. But those who follow the call to al-Qaeda's training camps can be badly let down, according to the man who has lost young men to the seduction of extremism.
They have a narrative that says, I listened to this internet rhetoric, I got my backpack and I went to country A and then to the third country to get on the front of the jihad. And when I got there, I found out that the mullah was having boys as child sex slaves. When I got there, I found out that they were trading opium for money so they could buy weapons, while they expected us to go out unprepared, unsupplied to meet the enemy.
For those with the path to jihad in their dreams,